Good afternoon, everybody. This is Brian Terrell with B. Terrell Group. Just wanted to say thank you for taking time out of your afternoon to join us on our webinar today. Today we have a very special guest. Kristen Justice joins us from AmeriFlex Business Solutions. AmeriFlex Business Solutions is our partner in our introduction of Workforce Go, which is a application that we've developed and introduced to the Intact ecosystem as a fully integrated HRMS solution for Intact. Kristen and I have worked together in various opportunities throughout the last 5 or 6 months, so we're very excited to have her with us today, and I know that everybody is interested in seeing and learning more about AmeriFlex Workforce. So, Kristen, if it's okay, I'll just turn it over to you.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Brian, for the introduction. I appreciate it, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon for an overview of the AmeriFlex Workforce solution that, as Brian mentioned, is fully integrated with Intact, and we are calling it Workforce Go. So just a little bit of history on AmeriFlex and who we are. We were established in '98. And we are a third-party administrator for flexible spending accounts, HRA, HSA, and COBRA administration services. We also rolled out this amazing technology that we call Workforce for short, that encompasses payroll, time and labor management, and human resources with a benefit open enrollment tool. It's one platform, one employee record, and it is in real time. Now, we also have an SSA E16 certification, so if that ever comes to mind or you're worried about the certifications that we have on this technology, and as a company, we ensure that we remain compliant and we're bringing the best technology to you that is out there in the marketplace. So the first screen I want to show you of the technology is an actual view of what the technology looks like before logging in. So what you're seeing here is the actual login screen for the Workforce Go technology. So, of course, the one that you're seeing at the back, it's labeled to look like AmeriFlex, like Workforce with our coloring and our mission statement. But naturally, for you, we're going to make it look like your own technology because we want you and the employees to log in and feel like it truly is your own. So we're going to go to your website, bring in your images, your mission statement, and your coloring to make it look like it truly is your own technology, as you can see I've done with this group for investment management. Now, the next view I'm going to show you is an actual employee dashboard. So let's say that we just logged in and we are a part-time employee with the company. This is what we could see. This is our dashboard. Now, keep an open mind. For demo purposes, we have this view available, but the system is completely configurable in a sense that we can change up the look of the dashboard based off of each individual employee and the level of access they should have in the system. So the part-time employee should only be seeing their schedule, as you see here, their balances and accruals and to-do items. That's all they're going to see. But a manager may have more access and more visibility into the system. So one piece I want to show you that employees can do with the Workforce solution is elect health benefits. So you can see here that this is the process of going through open enrollment, and this does lie within the HR module because the Workforce solution is modular. It encompasses time and labor management, payroll, and human resources with a benefit open enrollment tool. We also have an ACA component available also. So you're seeing here, we're going to compare Aetna and Horizon, two different carriers, plan options side by side, so this employee can make the decision that's going to be best for them and their family. Now, when they're doing the election for health benefits, it's cloud-based. So what that means is the employee can actually elect for health benefits anywhere in the world with an internet connection. So rather than having to sit at the end of the long table across from the director of HR doing their open enrollment, they can actually be doing it at home with their spouse and their family members to make sure they're making the right elections for them. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you here is I want to show you the I-9 form. The I-9 form is something that we're all used to doing. You probably have done it manually in the past where you have the actual paper doc and you're filling it in by hand. The Workforce technology gives you the ability to provide your employees with a virtual I-9 form that's automatically filling itself out. So the employee data, social security number, all that information is already going to auto-populate because it lies within the employee profile, which I'll show you in just a bit. So looking at this I-9, you can see we even get to do a virtual signature. This alleviates the need for anybody in the company having to run around looking for that employee to get their signature on it or to ask them for the supporting docs. When it's virtual, the workflow process is so much smoother because the employees get an email notification letting them know to complete their I-9. They go in and complete it in a matter of seconds with a virtual signature. And then the director of HR or the manager gets an email notification to let them know that that employee has completed their I-9 form. So everything is paper-free and it's being housed safe and secure in the cloud and accessible 24/7. The next view I want to show you is of a pay statement. So with payroll, we need to give employees the availability to view their pay statements anytime that they need it, just from the drop of a hat. So what we do with our workforce technology is we make it to where all companies and employees can view their pay statement, whether it's from a dashboard like you're seeing here. I'm coming to you from a tablet, maybe a desktop, laptop, but we also have a mobile app that's available that works on any Android or iPhone, so that employees can actually log in from their mobile app that's included with the technology and view all their previously existing pay statements right there on the fly. So if they're buying a car, renting an apartment, anytime they have to prove their income, they can do that in a matter of just 2 touches with their finger on their phone. They, of course, always have it available here on their dashboard if they want to log in using a laptop, computer, or tablet. They can most definitely do that. And then, of course, it can always be downloaded and printed if they want a paper copy, but it's nice to keep it virtual because the employees will know they can access it whenever they need to. The next thing I want to show you is a timesheet. So when we're looking at timesheets and forms of time collection here, we have to be able to provide a series of different options because everyone on the line is different, right? Everyone's company operates a little bit different, even if you're in the same industry. You all have your own personal needs that you are expecting from the platform, such as our workforce solution. So you can see here, this is one form of time collection that we have available. Employees can clock in and out from a dashboard, so this is great for an employee that you're collecting time on who goes and sits at a computer each day. But of course, this wouldn't work for a company that needs to have their employees clocking in and out from a hard clock mounted on the wall, or maybe the employees are traveling and they go to different job sites. They could clock in and out from their actual mobile app. So we have lots of different methods here to collect time on the employees to ensure that we're getting real-time info into the timesheets to ensure that it's updating every second, because when I say real-time, we truly mean whether they're clocking in from a dashboard like you see highlighted at the top of the screen here, or they're clocking in and out from their mobile app. It's going to instantly communicate this. And then, of course, it's going to go straight on over to payroll, too, when we submit this timesheet for approval. Now, you're seeing a yellow arrow that's pointing up to Thursday, the 26th. All I'm showing you here is that if there's ever a discrepancy on a timesheet, like you can see if you look over to the right, that this employee forgot to clock out, the employee can simply write a note to their manager right there by clicking on that little notepad and say, whoops, I forgot to clock out. Can you fix that for me? And the manager is going to get an email notification letting them know they need to fix that timesheet. But the next view I want to show you is the manager can also view any discrepancies on timesheets on their dashboard. So you can see right here, whenever a manager logs in, they can see if an employee's neglected to clock out or anything like that, or maybe they came back from lunch and forgot to clock in. The system's going to recognize any missing punches for the employees. So when I'm talking about this, it's going to be perfect for you all that are collecting time on hourly employees, okay? Now, if you have all salaried employees that don't have fixed schedules, the time and labor management piece may not be something that you need to utilize, but the system is modular. So you may still want to utilize the payroll and the HR piece. We have lots of options available, but this time and labor management component is huge for you all that need to be collecting time on part-time employees. The next view I want to show you is a time off request. So giving employees the ability to submit time off requests with lots of different options for submission is going to make them more likely to submit correctly. So we hear a lot of times that companies have employees submitting for time off requests with a phone call or an email. This format that we use here is automatically communicating with payroll. It's sending email notifications to the managers and the director of HR. That way, they don't have to just make a phone call and then someone has to go see if they can allow them to be off, but rather the system is going to let the employee know if they even have the time available. And then, of course, once they take it, if it's been approved, it's going to make sure that payroll pays them for that day that they've requested off and been approved for. So you can see here, this employee is going to choose for a vacation day, right? So that's where the arrow is pointing, vacation. He's going to write a little comment. He said, I would like to take a long weekend. And then naturally, he can see his approvers, Kathy Watson, Paul Peterson, are going to be the two people that get an email notification letting him know whether or not he's been approved for that vacation day. Now, as an employee, he knows what time he has available, because on that little balance chart that has the yellow highlight on it, you'll see all the available time for sick and for vacation. And of course, we change the verbiage used there based on what you all use. So if it's PTO, bereavement, jury duty, time off, whatever your verbiage is, we're going to change that to make sure that it fits around your company and the processes that you have in place. The next view I want to show you is if this employee was to submit for that time off request, what does it look like on a dashboard? Well, I'm showing you right now. A manager can see not only the missing punches that I showed you earlier from a timesheet perspective, but the manager can also see time off awaiting approval. So all this manager would simply have to do is scroll over the green or red flag to either approve or reject for that employee's requested day off. And of course, the employee can submit it like we did before using the dashboard, or they can even submit it from their mobile app. So if they wake up and they're sick, they can just simply roll over, jump into the mobile app, and submit for that day off. It looks the same, it acts the same. They can still also put comments, just like here. If this manager were to approve or reject, they can write a comment back to that employee, and that employee instantly will receive an email notification to let them know that that day has either been approved or rejected, and then the note that the manager wrote will be right there and reside next to that confirmation. So when we talk about the Director of HR, I want to show you what that view looks like next. So Directors of HR have a lot more access into the system. They hold the reins to the entire company, so they can see a lot more on their dashboard than our manager and our part-time employee could. So at the top, we have hyperlinks. All this is different websites outside of AmeriFlex or the workforce platform that we embedded here in the solution so that people can jump out to other sites. So we just have HR Answer link on there, which I'll talk about in just a bit, the company's website, and then a carrier's website. Now the quick links down on the left-hand side are different areas of the system that this employee, the Director of HR, needs to jump in and out of on a daily basis, so it's quickly available to her. She has her payrolls visible in the middle, so that way whenever it comes time to process payroll, she can jump on into it. Our ACA Compliance overview is down there underneath the payroll section. We're going to drill into that in just a moment. And then we have employees over on the right-hand side, so that the Director of HR can view the employee profiles and gain their data at a drop of a hat. And then, of course, we have the recruitment and applicant tracking in the bottom corner. So the level of access that this is giving you all to be able to manage the entire company so efficiently is just incredible, because it's all visibly available on this dashboard upon logging in. One piece that we hear a lot about that people are having a hard time tracking today is something as simple as education. So this next view I'm going to show you is the ability to track education, assets, and certifications right here on all your employees. And you'll see the yellow arrow is even pointing to a series of filters. So if you only want to see specific employees or certain cost centers, or maybe just certifications that are approaching expiration, you can set up that filter as you like and have it show you that view here in the system. Next, I'm even going to show you can export it into a series of different formats. So if you want this information to be available to you from a PDF or HTML or Excel spreadsheet, you can absolutely have that for you simply by just clicking export and choosing the format that you want it to be exported in. It's also going to be exported in the same way that you're seeing it here. It's not going to change the format. It's going to stay looking that nice. And then it's even going to have your company logo in the top left-hand corner of the report. That way, if this is being sent to someone external from the company, it looks very professional, very clean, and just looks very nice. The ACA component that we were looking at for a bit on the view of the Director of HR dashboard, we're going to drill into that piece now for a moment, because a lot of companies thought maybe we could avoid the Affordable Care Act, but now we're actually living in it, and we have to be prepared for it, because as of January of 2016, the 1094 and 1095C forms have to be filed to be compliant with the IRS regulations for the Affordable Care Act. So this component that I'm showing you right now, I know it's probably looking rather small, but just to give you a high-level overview of the capabilities here, it is actually automatically calculating the variable hours worked by part-time employees and giving you the cumulative total for each individual employee. So you don't have to go out to an Excel spreadsheet and type in the hours worked by each employee to make sure you're in compliance, add those numbers up. The system's actually going to create the cumulative totals for you and show you whether or not you are in compliance with the ACA standard. It's also going to give you the ability here to see whether or not the affordable plan and minimum value plan are being offered, because there's those two pieces of the ACA that you need to be tracking. So This piece here is incredible, and to utilize it, you're really going to need to be on our time and labor management solution. So for those of you joining us that do have part-time employees that are clocking in and out hourly, you will need to be utilizing our time and labor management solution to have those cumulative totals automatically calculated for you. It's just an incredible solution to be able to offer to you and to your staff to ensure compliance for the ACA. All right, so the next view I want to show you is the actual payroll prep process. So payroll. When we're thinking about payroll, we're thinking we just want our employees to be paid on time. We just want to ensure taxes are done correctly. Those are the things that matter the most. But think about the director of HR. Think about the people who have to go through the payroll prep process and the amount of time it's taking them just to conduct payroll. With our solution, because it's all one employee record, it's a single sign-on platform, the time and labor management and the HR piece, they're communicating simultaneously with payroll, just like our payroll solution is communicating with Intact, which I'm going to get to show you what that looks like here in just a bit. So our payroll prep process simply moves from top to bottom. And because it's in real time, it's going to allow you all to actually edit employee data, hire new employees, and make changes to individual pay statements as you're actually in the payroll process prior to even submitting the payroll. So I want to show you that pay statement and what that looks like prior to being finalized, which you're going to see now. This pay statement that you're seeing, it even says at the top, it's not been finalized yet. So that gives you and the director of HR a sense of security in knowing that, okay, this is the pay statement that's going to be given to my employee. This is what they're going to see upon receiving pay. So you're going to see here all the information from the credits, the deductions, everything here, even the timesheet, if it applies to the employee that is receiving this pay. Even the accruals are down there in the right-hand corner. So this gives you all, the employer, a sense of confidence in knowing that what you're doing when you're processing is all done with complete accuracy prior to even hitting that submit button. And you'll even see that we do provide a series of payroll reports that are standard there in the payroll world, but we make sure to make our reports completely configurable in a sense that you can make them the view that you would want them to be. So that's the next piece I'm going to show you is the list of reports that we provide with our payroll processing. So you can see there the yellow arrow is pointing to all the different reports that are available prior to even that checkered flag you're seeing is below that, because you're going to gain access to all that information before you even submit. So the first report I want to show you is the Payroll Register. So when you're looking at the Payroll Register, you're going to see all the information in regards to each individual employee, okay? So seeing that here, I highlighted the top because I wanted to point out that we can actually change up the view based on cost centers, departments, employer taxes being included, whatever you want to show in this report, we can configure it to show what you need it to. And you can actually make changes yourself to it if you want to, because the reporting capabilities are so easy to use that you're going to have the ability to go in there and configure, play around with the setup of the report and make it your own. And then, of course, like the other reports, you can actually export into a series of different formats, whether it's PDF, CSV, Excel, HTML, whatever that needs to be, you're going to be able to export this data or have it automatically emailed to anyone internally or externally with your company at a specific day and time if you need to. The system can automatically get that data over to whoever needs to be seeing it. Now, when we're talking about Intact and the power behind Workforce Go and how it's seamlessly integrated with Intact, I want to talk about the General Ledger, which is the next screen that we're going to be looking at. So when we're looking at the General Ledger, we can see the debits and credits for each individual employee. And when you look over the right-hand side, you see all those cost centers. Now, these cost centers are actually going to transfer directly to Intact as dimensions. Okay? With that being said, when the dimensions in Intact are edited or updated, the change is going to automatically communicate to the Workforce solution that you're seeing today. So you're not going to have to come and make the change in Workforce after it's been made in Intact, because this is a seamless integration. You make it in Intact, and it's going to update Workforce. Just like the other reports, you can change this view if you want to. Maybe you want to get rid of that entry type or change around the cost centers and the view that you're seeing them in. You can easily do that on the fly and naturally export the information into any format that you want to be seeing it in. Next, I want to show you a Payroll Recap and Funding report. Another standard report in the payroll world, but we went and we threw some visual aids in it because after looking at all these reports, it might be nice to have a little visual aid there to kind of help you notice any discrepancies between last payroll run and this payroll run. So you can see here that the barrels side by side that there is a discrepancy between last month and this month. And then, of course, my rolling 12-month payroll view is available. Now, don't think too heavily into how skewed my 12-month payroll view is. I do not take care of my demo employees. I don't pay them. Sometimes I pay them too much. Sometimes I just forget about them for a couple months. So that would be a rather non-compliant company, so to say. So hopefully you got a little bit of a giggle out of that. Your natural 12-month payroll view would be a little bit more consistent. But it's nice to have this data right here on this one-page beautiful PDF layout that you can get to anyone in the company still prior to even submitting your payroll process. So now that we've talked about payroll, we went through a high-level overview of the capabilities of Workforce Go being integrated with Intact and how our payroll system works. I want to also show you the employee profile, because when I'm talking about all the information and how the system knows what to do, you're probably wondering, how does it know? Well, this is how the system knows who the employees are and everything specific to each individual employee, because it's housed within the employee profile. So on the main tab, you can see basic account and employee information. We have the ACA timeline in the middle, even have the employee's profile picture on the right if that's something that you want to do. But this is where we get very specific into the information around this employee, who their manager is. We set up workflow processes. We set up any type of documents that they should be viewing or completing, their schedules, the benefits being offered, the accrual process. So that truly is configured specifically for each employee, because we take into account that every employee may be completely different at your company. When I talked about the mobile app earlier and the capabilities around accessing the system from a desktop, dashboard setting, laptop, or tablet, the mobile app is also a very important key feature, because we realize that not everyone's always carrying around a laptop or a tablet with them, but almost always you have your phone tied to your hip. If you're anything like me, my phone is always with me. So the mobile app gives you the ability, and your employees the ability, to not only clock in and out on the job site if you want to give them that level of access, but also look to view those pay statements. That way, if they're going to buy a car on a Saturday, they don't have to worry about calling you or anyone in the company to find out if you can prove their income, if you can send some pay statements to their email, or maybe even just viewing the time off calendar to make sure that they're asking for a day off that 6 other employees don't already have off. So having the mobile app available is so important, because that way you and your employees can access this information anytime that they need to. All they need is an internet connection. And HR Answer Link is the final tab, final screen that I want to show you, because with our solution, with our human resources solution, we provide this incredible service called HR Answer Link, and it gives you all the ability to have a resource for any HR questions that may arise through the process of working with your company. So whether it's, oh, I'm not quite sure how to hire this employee properly, what are the regulations on that, or I need to term this employee and I'm not quite sure how to do that the right way, you can come to HR Answer Link and you can use this as a resource, because it provides a plethora of information, different forms, everything you would need to help you be confident in the decisions that you're making for your employees at the company. HR On Demand is the next level of support. You can see on the far right-hand side the HR On Demand verbiage. All that is, it's got an additional cost affiliated with it. It's really for groups that are needing to create employee handbooks from the ground up and need someone to do that for them and provide them the next level of support, to a sense where they always have a consultant available to answer questions, accept a phone call, chat message, and customize documents for your company specifically. So that is the capability around the HR Answer Link and HR On Demand. So thank you all so much for taking time to have interest in the Workforce Go solution. We are so excited to bring this to you all to help you to become more efficient in your processes and to make everything seamless, because having it all in one place makes life so much easier on you and on your entire staff. So thank you again for your time today. I was thrilled to have the opportunity to show you Workforce Go and the power behind having your payroll, human resources, benefit open enrollment, and time and labor management communicate seamlessly with Intact. So I'm going to turn it back over to Brian. Thank you again.
Thank you, Kristen. We do have a couple of questions, Kristen. Are you available to answer a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. Here's one from one of our attendees. The question is, can the system track continuing education credits?
That's a great question. Thank you. So most definitely the system is capable of tracking any education credits that you may need to keep track of. So if an employee is going and attending a course and they receive maybe 8 hours for that course, you can have that in the system and then track that, even track the date next to it, and filter on employee based off the information that you need derived from that specific report.
Okay, good. You described a system that includes not only payroll services, but also time and labor management and other pieces to the system, ACA module, for example. One of our questions relates to that. Can a subscriber to AmeriFlex Workforce pick and choose between which modules that they need, or is it all or nothing?
That's another great question. So I'm glad you asked. Absolutely, the system is modular. So if you have a client or yourself, you need to just utilize, let's say, payroll. If you want that intact integration, you just want payroll and human resources, you can most definitely do that. If you just are looking at maybe time and labor management and payroll and the HR piece you don't feel that you need, you can definitely utilize that also. So it most definitely is modular.
Okay, really good answer there. Here's another. If we're thinking about implementing AmeriFlex Workforce, how long does it take to get up and running on the system?
Another great question. So when it comes to implementation, the first thing we do upon receiving a signed proposal is we naturally call you. We're thrilled to have you as a client. Then we begin the process of gathering data and information from you to make sure that implementation is a smooth process. Once we have the data from you to be able to begin implementation, you have a dedicated implementation specialist that's going to begin working away on configuring the system. This typically takes 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the modules that you're wanting to utilize. So it's definitely something that we want to talk about specifically, depending on what pieces you want to utilize with the workforce solution. But a safe number, we would say, is about 6 to 8 weeks to implement this platform. So right now, we're looking at quarter starts. So 7/1 is the next opportunity that we would be looking at to implement.
Okay, so the 7/1 cutoff would be 7/1 minus 6 to 8 weeks.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Probably
and
about
then
mid-May might be a good.
Mid-May. Okay, so that's right around the corner.
It is.
So, here's another question. What about pricing? How do we get information on pricing, and how does that work?
Ooh, another great question. Yes, I'm sure everyone's wondering about the price of this. So with pricing, the way that it's going to work is we want to know what it is that you're wanting to utilize of the system, because naturally we don't want to charge you for components that you don't want to utilize. So once we know what modules you're interested in, we would definitely love the opportunity to have a call with you to configure the demo specifically to your company to make it look like your own. And then we'd be able to provide pricing, because the pricing is modular like the rest of the system. Time and labor management is based off of per employee per month, and we have payroll. There are pieces in there such as garnishments and frequency of processing that we need to learn from you. In HR, there are other components there that we need to learn about. So we hope to have the opportunity to demo to you, to do a discovery call to learn about you specifically, and then have the opportunity to present the pricing.
Great. And that exhausts our questions. So if there are other questions, I've asked them to put up our contact information on the current page of the webinar. You can see both a phone number there and my email address, and I'd be happy to answer some questions, additional questions, or put you in touch with Kristen and her peers over at AmeriFlex Business Solutions. Let me just mention one personal note. Of all the people that are attending today's webinar, I suspect I may be the only client for AmeriFlex Workforce. Otherwise, why would you attend to learn about it if you're already using it? Well, I'm attending and am a current user, and just would like to say a bit about their customer service. We've enjoyed having a dedicated client service representative assigned to our account. And I know with some of the other payroll providers out there, then that's just that's something that they cannot provide. But AmeriFlex is of the size and provides the service level that's been a real bonus for us. Again, we'd like to thank you for the time to join us for this webinar. Let me just see if there's any other questions. Just a second. Okay, I guess not, but Kristen, you've done such a great job for helping us to gain valuable insight about AmeriFlex Workforce and the company that you work with and represent, AmeriFlex Business Solutions. Our entire inventory in the knowledge economy walks out the door every day and goes home. Those are our knowledge workers, our knowledge workforce. So having tools and technology to care for those valuable parts of our business, the most valuable part of our business is mission critical. So thank you again, Kristen, for your time with us today. I'm Brian Terrell, and thank you very much